welcome to another video. Now I know I haven't posted in a while, but that was because of some technical problems and I had a lot of things to do. Hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. So today I thought let's start with the presidential election for 2020. So we have Donald Trump for the Republicans, and for the Democrats you got Joe Biden. Now, in recent news, Kanye West says he's running for president. I believe it's a joke, just a publicity stunt. So I don't really think it's real, so I don't think it's going to have an effect on the 2020 election. Now, it could be wrong, but that's what I feel right now. So I guess I'll go with the safe states. I'll start with the Democrats. You got Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Joe Biden's home state, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, and Maine's 1st congressional district. That totals about 183 electoral votes. For Donald Trump, we got Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska's 2 at-large electoral votes included the 1st and 3rd congressional district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina, and the state of Indiana. So that totals about 125 electoral votes for Donald Trump. So with our likely states, I'll go in back and forth. I'll start with Joe Biden. I'm going to give Maine at large likely. I think Joe Biden is probably going to win it. He won in a primary, even though probably because Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren took votes away from each other. And Maine is trending red, but it's still probably a Democrat state. Another likely state for Donald Trump now, I say state Texas. Now, I'm pretty sure, let me go to 538.com. We have the Texas polling aggregate. Let's see. National polls, but I want to look at the state of Texas. Texas. Got Texas. So Trump leads up around 1.3, which will be into the tilt margin. These are the recent polls. But I still think Trump will win it by a likely margin. And Texas is trending blue. But I still think Trump is going to win it. Probably going to win less than what he did before. And also, Joe Biden is not doing that well with Latino voters, as we've been seeing. But I think those numbers could improve for him. And I don't think those numbers are going to last. But he's not doing as well as Hillary Clinton did with Latinos. The likely state I'll give Joe Biden is Colorado. Now, Colorado's made a huge turn for the Democrats. Good look, Colorado. Yeah, Joe Biden leads by 17.2. I don't think it's going to be that high. It's probably going to be around maybe 10 points. But Joe Biden is doing very well in the Colorado amongst the polls. And I don't think Donald Trump is going to win it. Another likely state I'll give for Donald Trump is the state of Iowa. Donald Trump won the state around 10 points. If we look at Iowa. And by the way, I'm using 538 for the polling website. Where's Iowa? Iowa is winning. It's about even right now. I don't think that's going to lead. But the recent latest poll came out June 15th and Trump up by 1. but I still think Donald Trump is going to win it by a good margin, maybe around 7 points. Probably not going to be as much as he did by 10 points. Probably going to trend a little back to the Democratic column. But I still think Trump, in the end of the day, is going to win the state of Iowa by a likely margin. Another likely state is for Joe Biden. I'm going to get the state of New Mexico. There are any polls. State of New Mexico. Let's see. See, the latest poll, June 16th, has it as Biden up by 14, by 12. So he's doing pretty well in New Mexico. But again, Joe Biden's not doing as well as Hillary Clinton did with Latino voters. And that could hurt him in that state. Probably going to hurt him more in Nevada and Arizona than in New Mexico, because New Mexico is now solidly probably Democratic state, which I do think is trending more and more blue. So, and I think he's going to win by a likely margin. And Trump probably could gain some votes because Gary Johnson's not going to be on the ballot anymore. So that probably can tighten it. But I still think Joe Biden's going to win by a likely margin. Now, I don't have any more likely Republican states, but another likely Democrat state is Virginia. Virginia is trended heavily Democrat, and even though according to the 2010 census, there are more registered Republicans in it than Democrats, but I'm sure that changed. Where's Virginia? Look at the polling aggregate. Biden's up by 11.3. I say Joe Biden wins Virginia more comfortably than he wins Colorado. He's probably big in the D.C. suburb area, probably going to bring that establishment vote out. So I do think he's going to do well in the Virginia area. And that's about it for my likely states. Now we go for our lean states. I think I'm going to start with Democrats again. So I'm going to start with the state of Nevada. I think Nevada is probably going to go by a lean margin, not a likely margin, which is, I believe, the general consensus on 270 to win. We have no, that's Massachusetts, Nevada. Biden's up by 8.7. A recent poll was May 6. Biden's up by 4. Then you also have another vote, Biden up by 3. Joe Biden did not do well in this state in the primary. He did better in this state than he did in states like New Hampshire and Vermont. But Nevada is still more of a Democratic state. I do still think it's trending more and more, again, Republican. If you look at New York Times change from 2012 to 2016, all the counties in Nevada, even Clark County, trending more Republican. And one day you probably would see a red Nevada and a blue Arizona. That's probably going to happen in the future. But I still Joe Biden won around 3 to 5%. For Donald Trump, I give him Ohio by a lean margin. Previously, I characterized Ohio as a likely state, but I think it downgrades to a lean state. But again, that could change, probably on the borderline. But for now, I'm just going to give it as a lean state. We look at the Ohio polling. What is Ohio? We look at Ohio. Joe Biden leads by 2.5, but a lot of these polls, where more accurately, Trump does have the lead by like around 4.4, I believe. And I think that's about Trump's how he's doing right now. Again, this could change. Trump could do better in Ohio. I probably maybe put Ohio, maybe because again, I think Ohio went more Republican than Texas did. Don't quote me on that one, but Ohio's getting more and more Republican. For Joe Biden, another lean state, I give him, no, not North Dakota. Move that back. Minnesota. If we look at Minnesota's polling, I don't think there's much in Minnesota. But if we look what we have, Minnesota, latest poll is Biden up by 16. Then you got Biden up by 5. So it's kind of staggered. But I think Joe Biden's going to win about in the lean margin. Hillary Clinton only won in the tilt margin. I think it was about 1.2 points. And Donald Trump did not do much campaigning here in the state of Minnesota, and it got that close. But I don't think Joe Biden's going to repeat that same mistake in Minnesota. But Minnesota is trending more Republican, I believe. And if you remember in the 2018 midterms, Republicans didn't do too bad. Republicans do control the state Senate in the state of Minnesota, and they also gained 2 seats in Minnesota. But again, Democrats gained 2 seats also in the state of Minnesota. And Republicans could get Minnesota third. You never know. But I still think Joe Biden's going to win the state of Minnesota. For Donald Trump, I'm going to give him the state of Georgia. If we look at Georgia's polling aggregate, Georgia. Apparently, Joe Biden has a 1.7 polling aggregate lead. If we look at the recent poll, Biden up by 4-2. You see, there are many polls in the state of Georgia than some from other states. But I still think Donald Trump is going to win this. And again, Georgia is an important state all around because they have 2 Senate elections. It looks like that regular election is going to get really contested. And they also have those 2 swing states districts. You got Georgia 6th and Georgia 7th. One controlled by Democrats, the other one controlled by the Republicans. So Georgia is going to be interesting to look at. But I still think Donald Trump is going to win it, probably about around a lean margin. Georgia is trending heavily more Democrat. But I still think Donald Trump is going to win it. For the Democrats, I'm going to give them the state of Michigan. Michigan. If we look at Michigan's polling, again, Michigan was the closest state in 2016. It went for Donald Trump around 0.2. Joe Biden has a 9.7 polling aggregate lead in the state of Michigan. And I don't think he's going to win it by that high because, again, it still went for Trump. And Trump is probably going to invest a lot of money in the state of Michigan, probably more around the Detroit suburb metro area. But Michigan and the whole Rust Belt entirely is trending more and more Republican. And later years to come, Republicans are doing well because Republicans still control the state House and Senate in the state of Michigan. For Republicans, another lean, I'm going to give Maine's 2nd district. There's any polling out of Maine's 2nd district. CD. Maine. Why don't they do Maine 2nd? Well, the only poll it looks like we got from Maine 2nd district, the closest was done in October 2019, Biden up by 3, but that was probably more higher for Biden. Donald Trump, I think, is going to win it. He did win it by a large in 2016. And I still think he's going to win it probably around lean margin, not as much as he did in 2016. That was almost like about safe margin. But Obama did win this district twice, but I still think Trump is going to win it because it's trending heavily Republican. Probably going to trend more back Democrat, but overall it's trending more and more Republican. And that's about it for my lean states. Now with my tilt states. For Donald Trump, I'm going to start with the state of Florida. If we look at Florida polling, Joe Biden's up by 6.3 points. That has tightened a little bit. If we look at the latest poll, July 3rd, the tell likely voters, it's completely even. And then there's also one where there's 5 up for Biden. Then you got 9. But Florida is going to be close this year. But I think Donald Trump has the edge in Florida, and here's why. The GOP is having their convention in Jacksonville, and it's now Donald Trump's home state. And Florida loves their incumbents. They mostly vote for their incumbents. Now, 2018 was an exception in the Senate where the Republicans picked up the seat. But Florida, I do believe, is getting more red. And the GOP has many more advantages in Florida. They got that older population that likes Trump. And you got the Cubans who also like Trump too. Because Joe Biden's not doing that well with Latinos. But in the state of North Carolina, I still think Trump is going to win it by a tilt margin. We'll look at North Carolina. In the polling aggregate, Biden's up by 3.2. Again, Joe Biden does well against African Americans and colored people. But North Carolina is still more Republican than Democrat. But again, North Carolina's getting more Democrat. Democrats do have the advantage in the House now in North Carolina because of redistricting. They are automatically gaining 2 seats in the state of North Carolina. But Republicans I do believe, are going to still win that state. Because again, I think Donald Trump is at a low point in his presidency. He's probably not doing the best he has right now. So I do think it's going to get better for him. Because again, we have 5 months to haven't been any conventions, debates yet. And anything can change. If you look in 2016, final 2 weeks changed the whole thing. Just like that. Well, for our next year, I'm going to give Pennsylvania into the tilt Joe Biden column. If we look at the polling, Donald Trump won this state. This was a state where it put Donald Trump over the top. If you look at the polling aggregate, Joe Biden leads by 7.5 points. Recent polls, he got Biden up by 5, Biden up by 6. So it looks like Biden's doing well in the state of Pennsylvania. He's been campaigning there a lot. Does have a regional advantage. He was born in the state, but he hasn't lived there for a while. A much long time ago. But I think Joe Biden has the edge in the state of Pennsylvania. Again, with all these lean or tilt states, it could go back and forth. So for now, I'm going to have Pennsylvania to the tilt Joe Biden column. In the state of New Hampshire, I say it flips from 2016. Now that's going to be surprising, but if we look at the polling, probably not good. Joe Biden leads there by 8.3, but the state of Hillary Clinton barely won the state. And Hillary Clinton did much better in the primary than Joe Biden did in it. Joe Biden did really bad in the primary. I think he got like 5th place And Donald Trump looks like he's invested resources into the state of New Hampshire, and I don't see those resources as much from the Biden campaign. So Donald Trump is really working hard for that 4 electoral votes from the state of New Hampshire. So for now, I say Donald Trump does win the state of New Hampshire. The next state, or I'm gonna do a district actually, say Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. Wonder if there are any polls from Nebraska. Alright, there's only one poll, it looks like, in May, and the Biden up by 11. That's probably an outsider. They only did 448 people. It's not many people, but it did vote for Trump in 2016. It is trending blue because it's an urban suburban area, but Republicans are probably going to hold it in the House. And I think Donald Trump is going to hold the district. That's my gut feeling. The next state is the state of Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is probably the more conservative out of the upper Rust Belt state. If we look at the polling in Wisconsin, Biden's up by 8.1, but the poll's pretty scary. You got July 1st, Biden up by 8, June 28th, you got Trump up by 1, then you got Biden, then you also have some Trump up by points. So I do think, in the end of the day, Trump is going to hold the state. Now I know Joe Biden's clearest path to victory is the upper Rust Belt. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But Wisconsin is trending more Republican. I do think Trump is going to hold it. Now there's one final state, and the election has come down to the state, and this state is the state of Arizona. Let's describe Arizona. So if we look at the polling in Arizona, Joe Biden's up by 3.1. You got different polls. You got one that has Biden up by 2, Biden up by 7, Trump up by 4, Biden up by 4, Biden up by 7, Trump by 1 down here. So, but Arizona is trending more blue. It went blue in the midterms for the Senate, and I do think Martha McSally, is going to lose the Senate seat. But at the end of the day, I think Trump is going to win it. He's probably going to invest some resources in it. And Trump has had a couple of rallies. He's been checking out the border wall in the state of Arizona. So, in the end of the day, I do believe Trump is going to win the state of Arizona. So that's my election prediction. Trump wins with 274 electoral votes, and Joe Biden wins with 264. You see, this election is very close. Anything could happen. Again, we could flip a lot of states. You could flip maybe Wisconsin. Maybe Trump could win Pennsylvania. Joe Biden could win Arizona. And many other states. So, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Comment if you wish. And I hope you all had a great 4th of July and hope to see you all again in the future.